Good evening. Welcome to my channel. How's everyone doing? We'll do a brief sound check because we struggled the last time we channeled live with sound. So I just want to make sure that you can hear me. I've lit some incense for you today. I don't know if you can actually see it, so I'll put it right there for you. It is frankincense and copal. Hope you like it. Can you smell it? It's nice. Yeah. No? Yeah. So weird. So we're going to be channeling my favorite spirit team, the Galactic Council of Nine. And we're going to be here talking about some general predictions, the basic cosmic energy update. We were going to talk about technical glitches in the matrix today. Did you see that? It was like poof, across my screen. Straight up, before I could even speak, it's like technical glitch. And we're going to be talking about some things, including the recent Facebook and Instagram, and multiple banks were involved as well, like this thing that happened. You guys think that's like a thing for Facebook to be down for like 3 hours? Just wait because there's more of that coming. When that happened, it was an interesting thing when I asked the council about what it represented and the cosmic energy that we've been going through. And with those glitches in the 3D system, um, and the way that Earth plays out from the third dimensional perspective, um, when too many people and a lot of people are operating in a realm that isn't aligned to whatever it could be, like the entirety of the banks, the social media, particularly in degrees of corporate censorship, whatever it is, and you're not aligned to that, those systems will begin to glitch out for you. This is not the first time that we're going to have a major glitch in social media things, internet, and banking systems for both March and April. So, those are my predictions coming from the Council of Nine for March and April is that we're going to have two more glitches, once this month um, and once next month, and they're lasting a little bit longer, particularly the April glitch, and it goes into things, that are more it's almost like someone's trying to tell us something in terms of where our private information and where our sacred information is held, both financially, spiritually, emotionally, family-wise. If certain systems crashed with banking and they're not going to be smaller banks insofar as particularly another glitch in the matrix coming up for April. These aren't smaller banks. They're going to be bigger ones. There were two banks involved in this Facebook thing as well. It wasn't just on the social media that glitched out that day for a few hours. So it's interesting. It's like different expressions of energy when it comes into density and the sharing of density in our plane of existence, the systems that no longer are working for people will have periods of glitching and it's lasting longer and a couple different things. Um, that last one was likely a hacking situation. Now, whether or not the social media portals involved and the banks involved are going to admit that to you is one thing, but what the council has been expressing is that that was definitely a hacking situation, and those hackers want us to know that, yes, our private information, whether it be credit cards or pictures of babies and, pictures of our children or whatever it is, can be looked at and held hostage for a few hours, if not completely stolen. This was just a small glimpse of something bigger to come with that this year. So I just wanted to kind of say that to you because as you're no longer aligning to those, it would be a really good idea, according to the council, to kind of go through your social media right now, to go through and see where your money is. Not because money's going to be bad in the predictions from the council. It's going to be a very good year with money. And those predictions continue to get better, both for cryptocurrency, for S&P 500, for many valuable stocks overall, and in your investments. Real estate's interesting. It, according to the alignment right now, even it's getting better, but not until August of this year. And that would be a really good time for people who want to buy. Um, so I'm not concerned about the devaluation of the dollar this year. I'm not concerned about like you needing to pull all your money from all your banks, but because money looks really good this year. And if I'm the only channel saying that, I am so confident in that and confident in what the council has to say, particularly in relation to our financial and emotional safety. And I don't believe that they would lead us astray. I do not get any indication that we need to be worried about, these little glitches, but we do need to be forewarned about privacy. We do need to be aware of where our personal information is held in light of the privacy involved in people being able to get in there and figure out, like not that they're going to hack you and take your money, but they could hack into your banking system and know private things about your life that you don't want them knowing. They could hack into Facebook and know private things about your family that you don't want people knowing. So in light of that prediction, again, when energies are shifting and different density expressions are merging into the same 3D realm, during those times where we're getting a little bit more 4D and 5D expression, and we particularly are in 4D expression right now on Earth, you're going to get more of those glitches. So that's just something that the council wanted to talk about first and foremost, right? Insofar as the cosmic energy right now, the words that I've been hearing from them today, and again, they're repeating it now, are emergence of patterned abundance. So it's like you get on a pattern of abundance, whether it be financial wealth or health abundance or energy, physical energy abundance, whether it be positive energy abundance in your mindset, um, abundance of love, abundance of friendship support. There's many forms of abundance, not just money, right? But we are emerging into more 5D mindsets that have been forgotten and kind of tapping back into some older dharmic patterns of abundance that we used to believe in and that used to work for us that perhaps we had forgotten, particularly in 2020 to 2023. So right now, in March and April of 2024, it's like a nostalgic period where we go, wow, we had these dreams that could have led to deeper abundance and we put them on hold, right? And then for what? For what reason? It might be time to look at different patterns of what we were doing during times where we were abundant and how can we emerge from that? How can we remember those patterns and amplify that in our in your 5D self? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Guys, I do also want to tell you, I don't know if you noticed the at the top of the super chat about top of the chat. We put a little message about super chats today that what we prefer that if you do have personal questions that you would kind of put them in a way that would benefit everyone so that we could ask the council some things that would be absolutely relevant for everyone here today versus asking any private questions. So any private questions that I do receive, I will be shifting them into more collectively helpful answers from the council, if you don't mind, so that everyone can kind of feel free to be involved. And we're going to be talking further about some of the predictions coming through for this month. We're going to be talking further as those topics arise with the predictions, as well as with the cosmic energies and how they're shifting right now. Okay. I see you guys have some really difficult questions. And remember, super chats are just helpful notes of gratitude for my work, but it does not guarantee answers. The council just takes whatever questions they feel that they like. All right. All right. Let's see. Da, da, da. Yeah. So in this question, it's about people feeling directionless or lost in terms of career. The council says it would be advisable to think creatively outside of any box you've ever placed yourselves in. Because right now, the new you, the beautiful consciousness that you are creating, is so different than all of the career patterns in the past. And you are pioneers. You are beginning to create new types of careers based upon your energies and how they shift, your preferences based upon 4D and 5D. So, of course, you feel lost in your career because all the careers that are currently available in 3D consciousness aren't for everyone. So, they said be mindful not to go too deeply into dark night of the soul, depression, anxiety, etc., because then that holds you in powerlessness, that holds you in helplessness, and then you'll go back to careers that no longer serve. So instead of doing that, think way outside the box in what you would do if money weren't an option and begin to do that. And then think practically, once you're doing that, about how much you love it and how you could build that into a career. That is their advice about career. So as opposed to saying, I'm lost, I don't know what career, stop looking at all the former careers. That was old you stuck in 3D patterning. In 4D, 5D patterning and shifting and transitioning, we begin to create our own career alignments based upon what we love to do. Now, the 3D mindset, your 3D brain will say, well, that won't make money or that won't pay the mortgage. And you would be highly surprised what will in a fifth-dimensional mindset. Okay. I'm so happy to see some Australian people here today um, because I am channeling a beautiful elder from it's a Humans from the Future channeling tomorrow at 9 a.m. on my Patreon channel. And oh my goodness, he is going to talk a lot about um, the why the voting happened to be no insofar as Indigenous representation and the changing of the Constitution. He is going to talk a lot about where to go from here for rights for Indigenous people. And he's going to be talking about song lines. He's going to be talking about um, some different degrees of their art and what it means energy wise. He's going to be talking about Lemuria and some truths and misunderstandings about it. He's going to be talking about the traditions of staying close to the land and inclusivity with the guardians and spirits of the land and all the animals and insects and plants that are upon it. So I'm happy to bring that to you tomorrow on my Patreon channel if you're interested. Okay, he is a fascinating being. He just makes me feel so calm. Let's see. This question says, I have been asking to connect with my Galactic Council family every night at bedtime, nothing yet. How long have you been trying? I've had people attempt to connect and not be able to connect for 10, 20, 30 days. And then on the 40th day, that's your day. Think about keeping your mind and your body a very pure channel. Don't watch TV before bed. Think about a little bit of a calm down period in your psychic energy hygiene and in your sleep hygiene. Think about what medications are in your system. If you are on any psychotropic or psychoactive medications, if you use pot, if you drink and you do it before bedtime, or sometimes if you drink at all, it can block it, but particularly before bedtime, if you're attempting to work in the dreaming and the astral realm and lucid dreaming, um, is just is gonna block it. So those things we have to be willing to give up in lieu of purifying this light body, right? This form that gives us this beautiful potential to serve Gaia and its animals, insects, people, skies, right? So it's some things we're going to have to give up is what I'm hearing from the council in lieu of that answer. And some things we just have to know take further commitment on attempting to connect. Now, if you want to know what I'm talking about, in our last video, the council talked about how to connect and, really get in there with your spirit guides and get to know them. And that's what that person is talking about. So you can review um, the channeling that we did, I believe, on Saturday for further information, as well as the video called How to Connect with Your Spirit Guides right here on this channel. Yeah. What are some herbs that are beneficial right now to take for health? Well, check out my disclaimer both at the top of the chat. YouTube really doesn't like when I do this, so I just always also have to tell you, along with that written disclaimer, that I'm not a doctor. I'm not licensed to diagnose, treat, or offer you any medical advice or cures. Please ask your doctor before taking this information. Okay, with that being said, here's what the council is saying. They're saying chasteberry is huge right now for hormonal regulation. Turkey tail is huge right now for building the immune system. Blue vervain is wonderful right now for toning the vagus nerve. There are a lot of mushrooms, chaga, cordyceps, lion's mane, that many light workers today and anyone on a spiritual development path should be taking regularly and daily. Okay, let's see what else we have. How can I best work with our difficult principal, Sarah? The council says, in lieu of educational systems, many of your administrators are facing intense burnout, and they feel like they're at a point where they can offer no more to you. And they're caught between doing what the school board wants them to do, doing what the parents want them to do, doing what all the teachers want them to do. And then the students come last because the administration is so highly impeded by the construct of the system and the density, the pain of the system. And as these old systems are falling away, the best way to work with difficult admin, if you are a teacher or if you are a parent for your children and for the good of the entire school, is to listen and offer support. Listen compassionately. Compassionate listening is one of the greatest gifts that you can provide to another being, particularly when they are burned out and stressed. And remove this idea of who is and isn't deserving and worthy of that compassion, forgiveness, and respect. Remove that idea. When you remove that idea from your mind begins to shift into compassion consciousness. Compassion consciousness is fifth dimensional. And when you can listen compassionately, offer your support, ask, how can you help? Offer your service, that leader feels supported when they are no longer being supported by anyone else. So remove any preconceived notion that you feel that that person in that spot of leadership has, that if you feel that person has an agenda, forgive the agenda. If you feel that that person is not acting in the best interest of everyone, forgive that as well and lift that to the higher realms. Do whatever you can to work with the energy of Ho'oponopono, the energy of compassionate forgiveness. Not necessarily because that person is worthy of it. Of course, at the soul level, they are, but not necessarily because their difficult, painful actions towards others are good or right or are they sacred. This is not the point. The point is simply that In lieu of that person feeling an energetic field of grace and compassion around them, they will begin to act in the best interest of everyone around them, even when they are absolutely as burned out as you are, teachers, parents. So keep that in mind. Those principles are phasing out of an old system. Those administrators and leaders are phasing out, not simply from old governmental systems that no longer serve, old educational systems that no longer serve, old religious systems that no longer serve. They don't want to be there any more than you want them there. They don't feel a connection to the role because everything is shifting and changing so fast and they can't keep up. Offer them compassion and forgiveness, and you will begin to see an intense shift in your educational, political, and religious leaders in this world. Right. How to help another suffering with PTSD. Ask this. Ask them, do they want your help? Do they truly want your help? Or are you interfering in someone else's karmic experience? Just because someone needs your help doesn't mean that they desire it. Start there. Non interference has always been a galactic rule, and it's not that we wish to teach you to lose compassion. It's obvious when someone is in such deep pain. But what do you know about their karmic contracts that their soul has chosen? What do you know about their experience of growth? Possibly very little. If you truly wish to help, be the one person who understands. Be the one person who can hold a space. Be the one person who supports them even when you don't understand, and allow their pain to be true, sacred, and relevant to you. Show them that they matter to you. That is what someone suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder requires. They simply want to feel that they matter. Start there. Everything else will fall into place. Let's see here. Yeah, this person here says he wants to know more about how the cosmic energies right now, which are shifting, are affecting our practical lives. And apparently, he did some lab work and the liver levels were elevated. I did mention that. You're correct. We did mention that in one of our predictions. What the council notices right now, they're saying, is that mostly the shifting and the reactions in your hormones and adrenal glands are the first thing to notice. The liver is only acting that way because the adrenals are exhausted, because the hormones are all over the place. So start there. Not many allopathic medical practitioners want to provide you any testing that isn't as narrow as and straight as a camel's hair. And then that degree of treatment is also like threading that camel's hair through a needle. It only works very specifically versus looking at the broad range and the broad spectrum um, that could perhaps be offered by an allopathic practitioner. Excuse me, not an allopathic practitioner. They're saying a naturopathic, holistic practitioner. So if you do utilize the allopathic system, just know that you are. It is a long, winding goose chase. So the lab results in that vein they're so narrow. So, of course, those systems, those broken medical systems are falling apart. This is why people don't want to go to doctors unless they absolutely have to. So, knowing that the energy levels are primarily affecting the immune system, the adrenal system, start there. Do breath practices, take your naturopathic herbs and medications that will support those systems and tone the vagus nerve. All of those things will help. Yeah, and the council, if you scroll back later, they to an earlier point in this channeling, you will notice that they offered some assistance in that. All right. Yeah. Blood pressure is definitely all over the place as well. Someone's asking right now about the effect of the cosmic energy shifts and a lot of the solar flash consciousness that's happening. It is definitely affecting blood pressure. Um, but everything seems to be beginning from the gut, the immune system, and the adrenal systems, and that effect on the hormones, right? So, in order to support the adrenal system, you can purify the gut, you can cleanse the gut, you can, utilize your probiotics and prebiotics, right? And no one product is going to be better than the other because you are not jars with labels on them. One product that we would advise for one person may be completely opposite for someone else's experience in their body. So it's not so much that there are healthy supplements that everyone can take. You need to know this mind, body, soul construct so well that you begin to see what's working for you and what isn't. Right. Yeah. And yes, so many people are mentioning weight gain. For people struggling with the cortisol levels being high and the hormones all over the place, the adrenals being absolutely burned out, of course, that's going to be a problem with both perimenopausal and postmenopausal, you know, beings. So, in that way, balancing the hormones will always help. And this is the primary problem right now: is the hormones are incredibly um, amok, imbalanced, just everywhere, all over the place. Mhm. Yeah. Is there a miracle cure for weight loss? They're saying right now it's more of the work that you're willing to do with the acceptance of your body as it is, the trust of your body, and the use of your body psychologically, emotionally, and physiologically. Like, how are you using your body? So, if you're concerned about weight gain from fat, perhaps shift that to weight gain from muscle. If you're gaining, make the gains healthy. Right now, there is no miracle fix. There really isn't. There are many allopathic medications that are coming to your disposal, some of which appear to be dangerous, some of which um, you will experience later to show intense side effects. There are some to avoid and some that are going to be working well. Right? And there's not everyone is the same, but the council has mentioned to me before that the Monjaro, that one is one that will show severe side effects. But if you've been intensely overweight for the majority of your life, sometimes side effects aren't going to be concerning. You're just done with it and you need a tool to help you, right? So in that case, are the benefits going to be worth the detriments? It's going to be hard to say because the detriments are heart related. The detriments are that it speeds up the adrenals and then shuts them down whenever you're no longer on that particular medication, the Manjaro, right? But then there are some benefits of some of these drugs that are coming out that will not have the same side effects, if any, that seem to be working well for the adrenals and the hormones. Ozempic is one of them that the council doesn't seem to be concerned about at all. But again, they aren't doctors, so ask your own doctor. And those aren't miracle cures either. There's no miracle cure for weight loss right now because as you shift, if you're holding on to not feeling supported, not feeling safe enough to drop the weight is literally grounding you to this earth sphere in a way that seems to be helping with emotional safety. So when you begin to develop an identity with emotional safety that is outside of what the form is doing, that will also support the form to lose weight. Let's see. What is the council's take on ADHD? They're saying it is a unique neurotypical expression of for someone who wishes to utilize their energy but doesn't have the courage um, to fully commit to expressing that energy. Therefore, it's they're showing me this laser, and it's like a pointed laser. And when you have a strong laser going in one direction, it's almost like a spotlight. They're showing me this big laser, and then all that energy is going into that. Um, for a person who is afraid to commit to life in this body and life on this planet, that is a lot of energy to put all of their focus and all of their energy field into one direction. They can't narrow it in. So, as a means of coping, as a particular coping mechanism, the being will shift their energies in a plethora of directions, and then the laser becomes a light show. And they go, "Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. I'm placing my energy everywhere. And there's so much beautiful creativity." But then there's no full mastery because the light is divided in hundreds of directions multiple times a day. And then that at some point, um, albeit a fun coping mechanism, is not a helpful one throughout time, and eventually can create some apathy, can create disconnection, can create a feeling of displacement, a feeling of wondering why they're putting all those energies in so many directions and nothing is working. Yeah. So in lieu of this, they're saying it would be helpful, number one, to formulate a commitment to life in your body and to life on this planet. Formulate a commitment to your passions and that you love being on this earth, in this life, in this form, in this mind, body, spirit construct, in order that you love this construct enough to rein in your energy, focus your goals, and shift into one passion or two or three, but perhaps not 10, 15, or 20. Rein in your energies. When a person feels unsafe, they don't want to do that, but this is the answer. Yeah. Yeah, rejection dysphoria. Yeah, someone is saying in chat that rejection dysphoria is big in ADHD. It's very debilitating. It can be, but when you begin to radically accept who you are, and when you begin to radically accept and surrender not to what the world wants from you, but to your own true nature, then you don't mind not fitting in. You don't mind rejection from the world. You don't mind if you feel displaced in society. You refuse to be debilitated in rejection dysphoria because you are focused on reigning in your purpose. Reigning in your purpose. Start there and commit to feeling at home within yourself, regardless of anything else. Because consider this, they're saying, what if on that unique spectrum, there's a more galactic part of your soul who isn't meant to fit in? If you're meant to shine light into darkness, what is the darkness going to do? It is going to tell you that you don't belong. It's going to tell you that you're crazy. It's going to profess insanity and project that into your direction. So there will be massive degrees of painful rejections towards star seeds on the spectrum. And again, we say that you're not here to shift that. 3D will always exist, and people are highly drawn to it right now. So, what if, and they're just proposing this as a theory, what if star seeds, you aren't struggling with ADHD, you are gifted with it? What if the dark night of the soul that accompanies it is meant to create a unique acceptance of your own expression, talents, abilities, lifestyles? And when you surrender to that and give yourself permission that all of that is okay, regardless of the world, regardless of the rejection, you will no longer feel so much dysphoria, so much displacement energies, and so much apathy. So, to make it simple, they're saying if you don't fit in, don't try to fit in. Be deeply blessed by the light that you are and continue to shine that light. For all of those who have ears to hear, let them listen. For all of those who have eyes to see, may they see that example and be blessed by it. And if they aren't, perhaps they will no longer judge in a negative fashion, but perhaps they will be curious. If not feeling blessed, perhaps they will simply say, I am deeply curious by this person, and they will wonder. And wonder is an energetic state that precedes the biggest miracle possible and all possibilities of healing. Wonder is what you need. So make them curious. They will wonder and they will learn. A similar answer here. Another person says she wants to know how to get her children to love each other. And the council says, and what if they don't? What if that particular chaos, that particular friction is teaching you, parents, to accept what is? Your job as parent is not ownership or change. It is not to help your child transform into who they're meant to become. You don't know who they're meant to become. Your job is support. Your job is safety. And in that particular state, perhaps that's all that you can offer. Love, support, safety. Love, support, safety. Children are gifts from source who are essences of you who are temporarily in your purview. They are temporarily in your arms. They are temporarily there as a blessing in your life, but they are not yours. They never were. What are star seeds? The council said, so you've been hearing this, and in a sense, everybody is, because we know, both from your science and the facts that have been discovered, this isn't the only planet with life on it. It doesn't take a channeling to know that. Otherwise, space, the cosmos, will be a giant waste of space. So, there is some component of your DNA that comes from elsewhere, that transitions over in what you call reincarnation, what we call simply exploring. So you would need a melting pot of galactic DNA expression in order to learn from the third density expression. And you need that here. You need that remembrance. And that junk DNA, as science has called it, is slowly awakening. This is why you reach different points in your lives where you don't feel like yourselves anymore, starseeds. And as those memories, those feelings of nostalgia, those moments of recollection spiritually begin to create more awareness in your mind, in your body, and in your emotions, you will begin to remember that this is and isn't your home simultaneously. Some of you handled that well. Some of you experience intense dark night of the soul. Either way, that is the unique container of growth that your soul chose. And now we get to love and forgive the pain and the suffering and ride the path that starseed nature within you is attempting to help you remember. Yeah. 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 So, yeah, I want to review that because some of you in chat are talking about Ozempic not being safe for the colon. But there are so many other factors in the colon as well that are going on in most people right now. So the council isn't so specific to attach that particular weight loss drug with that colon doing that because there are other factors at play. But in some people who already have an interesting genetic expression, particularly with MTHFR, it can cause that unique side effect for um, so many interesting things with absorption in the colon. But it's not meant um, to be taken permanently. It's meant to be taken safely for 90 days. None of these tools are meant to be taken long term. So people who are going through that are, number one, in the unique expression of MTHFR and their genetic expression, and possibly on it for too long. Because nothing is meant to be a permanent fix in weight loss. It has to come from the emotions and core beliefs. And right now, star seeds and light workers, it's about feeling grounded by that weight. So work with your body. If your body wants to be grounded by weight, give it permission to retain, build, and gain muscle instead. And the fat part will just naturally dissolve away. And then weight loss will come once you have built the muscle. So work more on endurance with muscle and fortifying and building the muscle and give the body permission to ground in a different way, which is a little bit of a distraction, but it does work because then you begin to connect with your strength, your mobility, your flexibility. And in that way, when the body is ready to drop the weight, because you're supporting it so much in properly invigorating the fascia, which holds water. Remember, you are 60% water. The fascia holds so much water. The body holds so much water. So when you are blessing your body to invigorate the muscular system and the neuromuscular system, then the water in the body receives that blessing. The fascia begins to support. You begin to lose that bloating, that water weight, all the stuff that's happening right now for a lot of light workers. And you also are giving your body a blessing. The water around the fascia supports that blessing, invigorates the muscles, activates more of your genetic potential to build muscular endurance and muscular strength. And the weight loss just begins to happen slowly, but it does happen. And that's kind of like what's happening for weight loss in light workers in general right now. Yeah. And it's okay. It's okay that it happens in that way. We want to support the body, give loving, compassionate blessings, and just say, hey, body, I know you can do this. I know you're strong. I know your mobility is wonderful. I know your flexibility is getting there. Whatever it is, express and talk to the muscles. Express and talk to the fascia. You know, in this way, express and talk to the mind, and this will help, right? How can we make the most of our galactic lineage? All right. Um, the council says you can make the most of your galactic lineage by understanding the unique quirks, the unique charisma, the unique grace. Grace is an energy expression, a very sacred energy expression that helps you with purpose. And helps keep you uplifted and elevated in your in that cosmic portion of your consciousness. When you're working on all of that, then it's easier for you to begin to notice and then remember who you are in that galactic way. And the truth of it is in the higher realms, you are not just human, you are galactic, you are many things, but in ultimate oneness, in ultimate truth in the higher realms, you are also none of those things because you are not incarnation, you are not body. So when you begin to remember that, you formulate less of an attachment of, okay, this part of me is formulated in Pleiadian expression. This part of me is formulated in Vegan expression. This part is formulated from, Lemuria, Mu, Lyran and feline nature, all of that. It's a fun entertainment when you begin to wake up and remember those lifetimes, but that's going to happen naturally anyway, and in a different way for each and every one of you. We don't have to go hunt down our galactic energies and lineage because that's going to find us. That's going to just naturally find us, and we're going to be remembering certain things, certain feelings, certain nostalgic expressions, new points of charisma and grace, new soul memories, new Akashic record experiences. That's what this entire year is about. The whole cosmic energy of this year is about remembrance and then emerging into an ancient consciousness that is us from many multiple lifetimes in parallel expressions of us. And also, like, it's new to us. It's old, but it's new to us because we don't remember. We don't remember. And when we do, it's super exciting and we want to know more. And that's a relevant stage of your discovery as well. And you begin to remember, oh, yeah, that might be a Pleiadian expression. Oh, yeah, that might be, I saw that being. What is that? But what's deeper than that is remembering that it is all you. That's fun. Yeah, that's just such a hodgepodge. When it comes to astrology, someone asks, are there birth charts or other markers astrologically to help us know our closest celestial lineage? It's our own memories when we begin to awaken and our own nostalgic feelings and just like, hey, I've been here, these deja vu feelings. That helps us remember more than anything else, right? That helps more than anything else. Because if we follow by like the third density consciousness of planets and what they're doing, um, we just are like treating ourselves as if we are beings floating around in the cosmos somewhere who happen to land on a giant rock and became gravitationally grounded. So they're saying that we're there. There's just so much more to us. That's an expression for the psyche that's incredibly helpful. That can be more of an expression for that, for your mental and your personality essence and how your soul contracts combine with your free agency in this lifetime, which is what makes astrology helpful. But is that likely going to help you with your galactic lineage? Mm, they're like this. Maybe, maybe not. Sometimes, but not all the time. It's not so much of a continual connection with that all the time. Yeah. What is the connection between the increase in multidimensional contact and the rise in the divine feminine? I was almost going to talk about that, and that was going to be the entire subject of this video, but I just really wanted to give people a chance to ask their own questions. But I wanted to bring in the Lilith consciousness, and I almost did, but she irritates you guys, so I didn't. But so it's funny that this is coming up again. And what she said is, um, it's not so much a connection in the increase in multidimensional contact, or if you mean ET contact or the remembrance of our light, our starseed nature, is not so much of a connection. It's that what we're remembering right now involves remembering the helpfulness and necessity and of that more vulnerable, soft receptivity in the divine feminine and our own energies. And also, um, the balance of that energy with sacred action. Sacred action is outpouring, outflowing, and that is what the divine masculine is. So she wanted to kind of give us more of a briefing about like what that is and try to understand that because there's so much misinformation and false perception going around about what is divine feminine, and that's been in association with matriarchy, and it really isn't, because there's just as much toxic matriarchy as there would be toxic patriarchy. And she says right now, don't think there wasn't a time when divine feminine, or if you relate it to human matriarchy, that wasn't intensely toxic in the same way that we have so much toxic patriarchal expression that requires divine feminine healing. Divine feminine and divine masculine has very little to do with your expressions of healthy or toxic patriarchy, matriarchy, and male and female gender. You understand? Divine feminine, the rise in the divine feminine is the rise in receptivity, the rise in compassionate listening, the rise in our capacity to be vulnerable, to soften, to surrender, not to anything toxic, not to the patriarchy, not to the world, not to the systems, but to surrender to the fact that the ego is not in control. That no matter what the ego does in action, if it doesn't soften to the cosmic divine mother essence, then everything that we do in our actions becomes fear, becomes too authoritarian, and becomes toxic masculine, toxic patriarchy, right? So we need a balance of divine feminine, divine masculine without the association with patriarchy, matriarchy, gender, male, female. There's more to us than gender and body parts. Are you, your penis, your vagina, your lack thereof? See, now we got Lilith. She's going to piss all of you off. You are not that. You are not that. So why are we so overtly concerned with gender and what we hold to express that in our physiology? Just a question. Why are we so overtly concerned with removal of toxic patriarchy? Because we're just giving that our fear, giving that our anger, giving that toxic patriarchy so much of our attention, so much of our focus, that we're then not voting on female prime ministers, presidents, religious leaders who could shift that painful construct so powerfully. And not only female, non-gendered, transgendered, whatever the expression may be, we just need something different. It's not just one thing or the other, but something that combines everything and bridges everything that was formerly misunderstood. There's your Lilith channeling and spiel for the month. I know she talks, she can she can create a toxic reaction from you. She can deeply catalyze you, and then people are like, "Oh no, 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 you don't understand the agendas going on." Yes, she does understand agendas. And she understands that they want you to be subjugated to that agenda, to be pissed off and to be unaccepting. They want you to be right there, focusing all of your pain, all of your suffering, all of your attention towards that agenda, right? So in this case, are you going to fall for that? Are you going to be too overly amplified in your pissed off energy about patriarchal agenda versus matriarchal agenda, LGBTQ plus agenda versus what people actually say that it is and what it is? There's so much that we don't understand, right? So, of course, Lilith is biased. Somebody in chat said she's biased. She's biased towards balance. She's biased towards the middle way. She said, of course, I am biased towards peace. I am biased towards equanimity and inclusivity. Now, this is interesting because this message is the same message that came across from the Aboriginal elder that I've been working with in the um, 2033 timeline for Australia. And we're going to talk to him tomorrow on my Patreon channel. And he said inclusivity is more about less about your expressions of gender and your sexuality and your preferences. Inclusivity is not about accepting everyone in that way. Inclusivity is about understanding that you do not own land, you do not own people, Earth owns you. And you are one expression of love versus all the other things. And you're pitting yourself against all those other things as opposed to just being inclusive with all the plants, all the insects, all the great elements that actually birthed you. because no human has lived longer than Earth has been here. And that was his message. It was a beautiful message about inclusivity with the land. I loved the message. Yeah. And then everything else begins to just take care of itself, is something that she's saying, right? Uh, I don't know what that is. That must be like, what is olazapine? Like, is that generic for something? Because a lot of times in the generic expressions, I've done a lot of, as a medical intuitive, I've done a lot of energy observation with the drugs. Now, granted, I'm not a doctor. I can't tell you what's going to be helpful or harmful for you, but just from the intuitive energy standpoint, from a medical intuitive standpoint, um, it's important. It's important to understand what works well with your brain and what doesn't, right? So, how do you feel when you're on that? Sometimes we require temporary tools for safety and balance, and there's nothing wrong with that. How do you feel with it? How do you feel without it? Right? Zyprexa, it's not a favorite of mine as a medical intuitive because all it does is kind of dull your senses in a unique way, and it can actually cause like a deeper dark night of the soul. And it's a great antipsychotic in a certain sense, but only because it knocks you out. But light workers can have an interesting paradoxical reaction to that particular drug as well. But it's not a favorite of the council and it's not a favorite of me as a medical intuitive. But again, I'm not a doctor, but if I were in that position, I would not, that would not be a choice. I would say no to that as a medical intuitive. I would say no to that. But there are some that I might say yes to, like Wellbutrin, right? Cymbalta would be one I would say no to as a medical intuitive. Yeah. A lot of them I would say no to, so perhaps asking me is not the best option because, like, 90% of things I would say no to. Mood stabilizers, there's so many other side effects, like, I would probably say yes to Abilify were it not for the intense weight gain that most people experience, and then they're depressed because of that, so it's like we have 1 degree of balance as a temporary tool for mental health, and then so many other side effects that, maybe it's a great antipsychotic, but it's not an antidepressant for when you gain 35 pounds off of it. Yeah. Mm. What about nonsteroidal anti-inflammatory drugs? It's never been a favorite for the council, nor myself as a medical intuitive, but it is kind of a lesser evil than opioids. Non-addictive, but destroys the gut. So if you're already struggling with GERD or an ulcer or something like that, and you're taking the NSA IDs, um, you have to eat perfectly. You have to eat perfectly. You always have to take them with food. It's such a gut destroyer. Mounjaro is not my favorite. It's going to be shown with intense side effects later on, and when those studies come out, you may have lost some weight, but then you have these other side effects to do with the heart that you'll have to with the heart and the nervous system that you'll have to contend with. So, yeah. What is the future of chiropractics? I'm glad you asked that question because the council has been talking to me a lot and has been showing me a lot of valuable predictions about the field of chiropractic health, and they're going in a positive direction. So you're going to be seeing chiropractors combine vibrational medicine, sound, tuning forks, Reiki, pratyahara and breath practices. You're going to be seeing chiropractors. Have you breathed differently? You're going to be seeing chiropractors include light therapy with the Tesla healing devices coming up in the next 10 years. The Tesla, um, what are the council calling that? The biohealing. Many chiropractors are going to be combining their sessions with that, and with sound beds. Sound beds are gonna be combined with the field of chiropractor. Many chiropractic fields are gonna be combining just so much, and you're gonna see that the whole field go very 5D very soon in, probably by the next 4 years and fully by the next 10 years. There'll be a place where everybody needs to be. It kind of is even right now, but it's, gonna be even more so. Yeah. Oh my goodness, I'm so glad you asked that. You guys also have some incredible questions tonight. This question says, "How is this cosmic energy that we're experiencing right now affecting our psychic abilities?" Um, well, for people that are overstimulated with their gifts, they're going to learn more shielding, more psychic energy hygiene. They're going to understand energy boundaries. Um, For people that need to open up, there's a lot more intensity and connection through the Akashic field right now. So people are going to be trusting their own natural abilities versus wanting a gift that they don't have. So the best way we can describe that is more acceptance towards your natural abilities, because a lot of natural abilities are highly underrated. And right now, people are starting to understand that precognition is underrated, retrocognition is underrated, claircognition is underrated, the olfactory senses and clairsentience is underrated. And these are the dominant gifts this month and next month that people are going to be utilizing in a much more practical way in their lives. Yeah, just looking at your questions. Yep. We'll just take a few more and then we're going to close because it's been about an hour and I'm going to have to go to bed soon. Is there hope for chronic fatigue syndrome? There will be something. The council has been talking about the particular virus associated with that. So I, as a medical intuitive, was incredibly happy about some of these predictions and visions that they gave me. By 2026, there's going to be something that helps with Epstein Barr. And people are going to be highly hesitant because it's liquid, it's an injectable, people don't like needles, all this sort of thing. It's not necessarily a cure for the virus, but it puts it in a dormancy immediately. And any of the virus's expression begins to almost be, it's like whatever is in that is an enzyme that breaks down um, the part of the virus that can hurt you, and it separates it in a unique way, and then it's just like not even able to function in your system. So that has been interesting information, and the more the council shares that with me in the future, we will be doing updates about that because so many people struggled and still struggle with Epstein Barr. Yep. I wish I could say that they showed me the same about Lyme disease, but we didn't get any advancement for that until 2027. And hopefully we can speed that up. One of the reasons why I do predictions from the council and from the humans of the future as well that I work with in the remote viewing and bilocation is because it gives me hope. If I don't like something that they tell me, then I will ask, okay, what can I tell people to do that could help us shift that positively, right? Mhm. The nursing profession, people are asking for some predictions on where that's going, but that it's like one prediction for one part of the world isn't the same in another part of the world is something I've noticed for the medical profession as a whole. And you've watched some of my Humans from the Future channelings and predictions about that over like between now and 2033. So that's there for you. But nursing is becoming more individualized. And a lot of the doctors will be handing over power to nurses, particularly like with nurse practitioners, but handing the capacity to give the nurses permission for more allopathic treatments, excuse me, naturopathic treatments, holistic treatments. Um, you'll see more nurses using meditation therapies, qigong therapies. You will see them be given more permissions legally to pull in that naturopathic support, that more holistic support into the medical care. That's one thing that's coming up for this year that I was incredibly happy about. Interestingly enough, I'm seeing a lot of nurses just absolutely not wanting to work in the hospital environment anymore. So you will see in January of next year an intense, I don't know what you call this, and the word is slipping my mind right now, but when nurses around the world, it's a strike. It's a strike, and it's in, that's the word they're giving me, the Upper East Coast around Boston, and then it goes down to Philadelphia, Delaware, and it just starts to spread. It goes all the way. Chicago does it as well. It starts to spread out into the Midwestern states where there's this strike, and it goes on for a long time, and then doctors begin to question what can we do um, to better support our nursing staff. So we're going to have this one strike that starts in Boston that just spreads from the East Coast down and then to the Midwestern states. Yeah. It doesn't go everywhere, but in the United States, that's something that helps people um, come out of, it helps doctors in particular and hospital admins begin to make some shifts in how they can treat their nurses better, how they can pay them better, how they can stop forced overtime, etc. Yeah. Hmm. Let's see. I'll take maybe one more question. Yeah, so I'll take this. Nathan says I often have what I call mind pops, where out of the blue I feel like I'm somewhere that I've been before, or have random smells and tastes, probably that you've tasted before or smelled before. I wouldn't be so quick to think it's a message from somewhere else when that happens. His question was, do you think they could be messages? That expression. The council says we often tend to have these expressions of awakenings through the akash, and then we think that it's a message. It isn't your guides attempting to get a hold of you. It is the akashic records opening for you, and you beginning to understand that you are a multidimensional, timeless being. So, of course, that happens because humans are sentient and sensory. It happens through the senses first. Yeah. So that's a beginning stage of an awakening light worker. Congratulations. Yep. All right. Oh my goodness. Yeah. All right. I think I'm going to close there. Again, we're channeling an Aboriginal elder on Patreon tomorrow. You're welcome to come watch. He is amazing. He is amazing. You're talking about song lines, art, sacred stories. So much. So much. You earth lovers, come join me there. Love it. I will be here again likely on Friday. I typically come on Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays at 7:33 p.m. That's my designated time unless something else happens. And occasionally, like if something happens with the kids, I might put it to a Saturday and then I'll let you know. Thank you. Please like and subscribe. And if you want more of the humans from the future, they are on Patreon, and there is a playlist here as well. All right. And I will see you with another channeling this Friday around the same time. Thank you. Much love. Bye bye.